Hi everyone, welcome to FilmDirt. I've just revisited Robocop 2 and I'd love to talk about it. I absolutely love the first movie by Paul Verhoeven. It's an incredible movie, incredible social commentary, and just an all-round great 80s revenge movie. It had all the ingredients for that genre that you want and love. This one, Robocop 2, it's not as good. It's not as good as the first one for sure, but it's still interesting. And overall, it's got a little bit of a mean spirit about it. It's definitely more nutty and a more adult theme or feel throughout the movie, I guess. Um, I remember when I was in school when I went to see the original, and I got in underage, as I mentioned in that review, with a friend of mine, and no doubt a lot of my other schoolmates saw it the same way as well at the time, because we were all under 18. It stayed with me, and it's so good in that respect that a movie can impact you from such a young age. I didn't get the same feeling with Robocop 2, for sure. I just don't think they grasped the actual essence of the first movie. It's got the same characters, or much the same characters, and similar themes, but just didn't get the holy grail that the first movie had. Okay, let's go through a couple of my thoughts. The villains are good, and there's a mean-spirited drug angle to it, and there's a young child, which, although great acting and a good villain, he did what you wanted a villain to do. He made you want to hate him, but he was a kid, and I don't know, it just rubbed me up the wrong way. I don't know how to put it into words. I just didn't want to see it, and I found it a little bit unbelievable that such a young child can be in charge of a gang like this. I know it's a movie, and I know very well that it's an 80s movie, and you've got to let some craziness go. And this film definitely is crazy, but just a bit too young. If he was a little bit older, that would be passable and a lot more dangerous to me, but he's clearly just a bit too young, too juvenile to be able to have such a lethal gang under his thumb. You just think, what kind of power does this boy have? It just took me out of the movie. I just I can't articulate what I felt when I first saw it, but I think you get the idea. It's not for me. I just didn't like that part of it. But the guy that eventually becomes Robocop 2, yeah, very good, and it's just getting a little bit too weird now, where you got such a villain, again lethal and a drug addict, being supposedly a new Robocop, controlled by his dependence on drugs. It's a nice idea, but it just didn't have the simplicity of the first movie. I mean, the first movie was all about a man and how good this man was, and a family man, and you felt for him, and he took revenge on those who killed him or who put him in the suit and destroyed his life and his family. It's all about the strength of the human spirit. That's not in Robocop 2 at all. There's none of that here. It's just a mean-spirited movie. So you've got a drug-addicted villain now, Robocop 2, which is supposed to supersede the original Robocop and join the police force, but it's never going to happen. The original Robocop with Alex Murphy was a police officer, and this guy, he's a villain that's addicted to nuke. So he does what he's told because he wants his next dose of the drug. Yeah, so it's a pure schlocky 80s movie, nowhere near as good as the original. Although it's an interesting watch. It's got the same hints of social commentary. You know, you've got the commercials telling you to buy stuff and basically telling you how crappy the world is, or at least how bad Detroit is, which, as I said in my last review, it mirrors Gotham City in a way that it's just full of scumbags, and you need the hero to ride into town and clean up by whatever means necessary. So this is directed by Irving Kershner, who's a great director. He's got a good body of work. I need to revisit most of it. He of course directed Empire Strikes Back, the best sequel. Pity he couldn't make this the best sequel, but that's just one of those things. It's just left me feeling empty. And the old man character, the head of OCP, he's changed character slightly. He's now almost a villain, and he's clearly driven by money, and he's got no compassion, whereas it was slightly more, I guess, good-natured in the first movie. Completely different here, but that tells you something about the greed of a corporation. So that part's interesting. I wasn't too taken aback by that. I think that's a possibility. Maybe we've just seen the evil side of the same character, so that part is fine. Peter Weller again, fantastic, always great, and he's just going along with it this time. We get a few snippets of his relationship with his, I guess she's an ex-wife now, and it's very noble of him to tell her that he's no longer Alex Murphy, and you know he's purely a machine, and they just use the face of him on the robot as a tribute, and that's nice, and it's very sad at the same time. So that gives her closure, but it's obviously false because we established that Alex Murphy's slowly getting his memories back, and you know the man is more powerful than the machine, and that's a powerful message in itself. You know, it makes you think. So that part is nice. I mean, there is some good stuff here. And Nancy Allen again, fantastic. Same as she was in the first movie. Just a great, dependable side character. And a lot of the good stuff is still brought over into this movie. But like I said, it's just a bad, bad attitude, bad nature throughout. The villains aren't as engaging as Clarence Bodicker and all the other scumbags that needed justice delivered to them. It's a decent sequel. It's not great. So what score should we give this? It's above average. It's not a terrible movie. It's above average. I'll give this 3 stars. Just because it's got some great little threads carried over from the first movie. And it's very violent, like the first movie again, which is great. Lots of blood, lots of gunfire. It's got a lot of the stuff that 80s movies are renowned for. But having said that, not many films can beat the first Robocop, and I don't think they'll ever capture what the first movie had. It's just something to do with the time it was filmed and a very good script. I don't know, they really got something there that is very hard to replicate. I'll cover Robocop 3 as well in my next review. I've got a few things to say about that film. So 3 stars for Robocop 2, and yeah, definitely give it a shot, but it's not as good. That's my summary. So that's my review, guys, and I'll just leave you with a little bit about myself. I'm going to be posting more reviews now that we're allowed back into cinemas after lockdown. I don't get any free tickets to go. I don't get any free incentives from any of the studios, so all my reviews are my own and completely genuine. Thanks very much for joining me. It was great speaking to you, and I'll see you again. Take care.